start calling on who he is in our life. He's Emmanuel to me. Who is he to you? He might be Christ to you. It's the same God. It's understanding differently. In Revelation chapter 7, in Revelation, there are 7 churches that are listed. Each of those churches have a different aspect of Christ. They all have the fullness of Christ, but they each of the 7 churches, go and study it, look at it. Each of those 7 churches have a different aspect of Christ. You can have the fullness of Christ, but there might be a part of him that's elevated in your understanding. To me, it is the Emmanuel. To you, it might be the Christ. To someone else, it might be the fact that he is master, because you need some control. You need someone over your life. It's the fact that he's the Lord. Who is he to you? And now he says, based on your confession of who I am, I'm going to build up a body of believers who will do my work in the earth, in the world, in this culture, in this environment, in this year, in this time, for my purpose. I will build my church. And the gates of hell, death itself, can do nothing to stop it. The church is a body of believers. 3 things the church is, 3 purposes that the church serves. First of all, it is a community of those who who have intimate knowledge of who Jesus Christ is. The church is a body of believers who have an intimate knowledge of who Christ is. You've got to know him. The more you learn of him, the more you see him, the more you struggle in life and you see him giving you victories and overcoming and doing mighty things in your life. You bring that back to the body, back to the church, that he will build, that he will protect, that he is set up. As we all come together, we share our testimony, we share our love, we share our victories, we share our trials. And as we do so, he says, I'm building in this place, in this house, a powerful entity that will serve me in the earth. The church is a community. It's a love fest. It's a one-on-one. We're a big family of believers who have an intimate knowledge of Christ. But secondly, it is a community of those who announce who he is, that confess boldly who he is and confidently who he is. Peter here says, the other 11, I can't speak for them. This is not a group test. This is not a cohort. It's a one-person, one-ratio question and answer. Do you know him for yourself? And he said, confidently, I can say, I know him. Now the others are scratching their head. But as for me, I know who he is. The church is a community of people who confidently know. Yes. Maybe you're not hearing me this morning, but the confidence in Christ is the confidence that takes you to work in the morning. When you know that there's going to be some things set up for you. It's the confidence that allows you to go through this life in the fullness of the power of God himself. Are you confident this morning that who you have, that who you walk with, that who you follow is none other than God himself? Because if you can confess who he is and understand who he is intimately in your life, then you can walk through life confidently. Doesn't mean you're instantly rich. Might not even be well-to-do. But I'm confident in this one thing, that he who began a good work in me will continue it until the day of his return, day of his completion. I'm confident of this one thing, that Jesus Christ died for me on the cross, and he will never leave me nor forsake me. I'm confident of this one thing, that if I trust in him in all of my ways and stop leaning to my own weird understanding, that he will in all his ways, that I will acknowledge him. He'll make the paths in front of me straight. Yes. I'm confident this morning in who he is. Last point before I go to my seat. The church is a community of people with intimate knowledge of who he is. We're growing in the knowledge of who he is. The church is a community this morning of people who announce and tell Jesus Christ confidently is indeed the Son of God. But lastly, the church is a community of people living and exercising the authority of God on the earth. Amen. Based on your confession and your knowledge of who Christ is, you now have authority. Yes. Hear this. Hear this. Sending us home on this. He says the gates of hell will not prevail against the church. And then he says this, I will give you who've confessed, I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. And whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. Whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. That's a confusing verse.